How are we doing today? I'm feeling good. Today's a great day. Yeah, it's another lovely day. Driving to work, weather is fantastic. It's getting bright and sunny towards summertime. Happy to be doing things. Yeah, perspective's pretty good. I'm feeling alright. Now, how are you? How are you doing? I hope you're well. Look, so I've been doing these for a couple of weeks now, right? And it's always kind of like coming up with something to talk about. And a lot of the times I've got things on my mind and I'm feeling, this is what's in front of me, this is relevant, let me discuss this with you. And that's been great. I've had sort of no issues, except today was kind of the first time that I actually had to think about, this is becoming a habit, this morning chat on the drive to work, where I think about the day and I think about, what's on my mind. But I've never really actually sort of sat down and thought about what am I going to talk about today and plan that out. I mean, there's been times when, on the morning walk, something's been, popping into the head to talk about, or I've been, obviously ruminating on an issue or a problem for a time period, and that makes itself evident to say, hey, here's something you should share and talk about. And the thought about, inspiration and motivation to keep going and to have the discipline to continue to keep up with forming a new habit. Because, motivation is incredibly important to get that process kick-started and moving along. And it's like, New Year's, going to the gym, everyone does it for the first few days, but then it sort of kicks into the whole, all right, now we're actually challenging the status quo. We're challenging the old habits you had of sitting on the couch and not going to the gym, the old habits of sitting in the car and not recording a video. And to think that it's getting to the point now where, okay, you're challenging that old habit with this attempt to bring in a new habit. What is going to be the difference? And motivation peters out, and it turns into what discipline you have to continue to want to do this. And part of that is driven by motivating factors, so your motivations to doing things. And don't get me wrong, there is absolutely no short way of lacking motivation in this life, or lacking enough motivation to get something done. Sometimes you're apathetic, you don't care one way or another about a certain topic or issue or doing something. Record the video, not record the video, could go either way. That's some people, that's totally fine. Other people, it's like, I've got so many things I want to do. I have a desire to sit here in the car and call family. I have a desire to listen to a podcast or an audiobook, or to blast tunes and sing along, or just sit here in silence, taking the scenery. There's a lot of different competing priorities, a lot of different things that you can be doing during the same amount of time in your life. And to prioritize recording a video, for example, out of all those other things I just mentioned, you have to have the motivation to obviously choose that, and to continue to remind yourself there's a reason behind what I'm doing. So, sharing with you what I'm doing here, I have a lot of information about how life is lived, how to live your life in ways that are perhaps more helpful than others. Again, I'm not saying I'm a guru and I have all the answers, but I have general directions that I think are probably better, and I really don't like using the term better because it implies, you have to sort of outline all of the other ways that aren't as good as, or aren't better, or are worse, so to say. And I'm not here to say that any way that anyone is living a life is worse, but, that tangent aside, better ways to live life. And so if you think, again, I'm not Mr. Guru, have lived life perfectly, I absolutely still have flaws, but throughout understanding, the human condition, the human nature, people within a society, individuals, what growth is like, upon spending my life figuring this stuff out and getting a job in this field, and obviously working as a social worker, where that's what you do a lot of the time, is you recognize barriers, you recognize unhelpful patterns, and you help point them out and reframe the way that people are viewing life, and say, is there a different way that you can, be doing what you're doing to have more effective results for your situation. And so, because I have that wealth of knowledge, I feel like, life's pretty good for me. Why sit on this and just enjoy it? Why don't I give back to the community? And again, I don't know if this is going to be heard by one person or 100 people. The point of it is, even if it's heard by no one, I'm putting it out there so that eventually, who knows, right? But it'll never eventuate to anything if it doesn't happen. So that motivation to say, Matt, you could be making a difference in somebody's life right now. Is that a good enough reason to pause your desire to blast tunes, listen to some bangers? I'm happy to make that judgment call. And so the motivation that comes and goes in life is pushed up by, propped up by the discipline that you can have as a part of your habit building formation, sort of where you are in life in general, and try to be aware that that's something that you want to work towards building. And the best way to become more disciplined is to practice it. Discipline is freedom in many ways. Frees you up to think about other things. For example, getting up and going for a walk. Because I'm disciplined in doing that, I don't have to think about actually getting up and going for the walk, and so my time could be spent thinking about what am I going to talk about in the video on the drive to work. And to think, hit that mark where it's like, alright, I don't want to just come across as put a video out there because I can and just rambling, but knowing, no, there's a reason for this. Remind yourself of that. Don't be so lacking in motivation, or believe that you are lacking in motivation. When it is there, it perhaps just needs a bit of prodding. And it's this nice, sweet turnover point between the initial momentum that comes from, the G up, the real, hey, I'm motivated to do this new project or this new task or start this new habit, to then, okay, now I've actually got to have the discipline to build into it, either every day or consistently throughout the next week or few months, whatever the timeline that you've given yourself is for this project, or for this new way of living, and recognizing that motivation dips and comes and goes, and there are moments for it, but if you continue to bring it back to the core reason you're doing something, therein lies the value of reminding yourself that's what we're doing this for. So pick your why. As they say, a person with a why can bear any how. So however you choose to go about doing your life, if the why you're doing things the way you're doing is good enough, you'll manage. And so again, with this little snippet out of the day to hopefully try and give you some extra motivation to keep on track with whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. There will be the ups, there will be the dips, there will be the downs, and just remember, stay motivated about learning to be motivated, about being disciplined, and about accepting what's in front of you, where you're at, how you deal with it. I guess that's where I'm at. That's all I'm doing. It's a bit of a candid car chat, being real with you. And I am going to have a great day, and I implore you to also have one.